Now, farmers, especially women at Kwabnaso and its environs in the Amasia South District of the Ashanti region, are accusing Asanko mines over police and military brutality. Over 1,000 of them from 4 communities such as Kwabnaso, Edubiase, Abrim and Kaniago have embarked on a demonstration to express their displeasure over the alleged brutality. Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
The farmers are unhappy about the alleged brutality by the military and police.
I overheard some noise far behind us. Then I decided to go there and collect the cassava into my basin. Before I got there, my basin was completely destroyed. And one of my boys told me it was the police and that they have arrested one of the boys. It is a sad situation.
With how Asanko gold mines is treating our parents whenever they go to the farm, they sometimes send security personnel after them. They end up arresting both illegal miners and our parents. They recently chased our parents away and destroyed their farm produce. According to them, they are unable to go to their farms.
We have a farm at Ponho. I decided to visit the farm with my brother and niece to clear some weeds. We were there to collect cassava when we overheard a strange sound and people were running.
Whenever we inquire about the number of people employed, they would inflate the number to say 10 people, when in actual fact, it is only 2. They do not engage the community members. We are pleading with them to engage us in the activities because we can do it and we are ready to learn the job. Here is Adubiaso chief linguist Nana Kwame Mensah. We are pleading with the government to impress upon Asanko gold mines to employ the youth in the communities. The mining company claims to have employed 5% of the youth. We are challenging them to come out and show the people they have actually engaged. They only take low-profile portfolios such as security. But when it is about a high-profile portfolios, they would place a qualification, knowing very well that we don't meet such criteria due to high illiteracy in the communities. All efforts to speak to management of Asanko mines prove futile. Farmers want government to intervene and address their concerns. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
The Ejapa mineral royalties deal has been in the news. Concerns about lack of transparency and the setting up of the SPV in a tax haven have dominated the airwaves. The minority has held a series of media briefings. CSOs called for a suspension of the deal for further consultation, and government has responded on various occasions. But what really is the Ejapa story, and how did we get here? Well, let's look at the timelines. It began on the 28th of September 2018, where Parliament, at the end of a one-week emergency sitting, approved the Minerals Income Investment Fund Bill 2018 to allow governments to set up MIIF to receive royalties from mineral resources and invest them. The bill allows for the creation of a special purpose vehicle, SPV, in any jurisdiction for use to undertake such investments. On the 3rd of December, a few months afterwards, the president signed the MIIF bill into law. Almost a year afterward, on the 7th of October 2019, the president inaugurated the board of the MIIF, chaired by the Member of Parliament for Takwan Swayim, George Mekuduka. In just under a month, government, through MIIF, incorporated Asase Royalties Limited with the Jersey Financial Services Commission in Bailiwick of Jersey, a tax haven independent Channel Island near the UK. That was on the 5th of November specifically. In less than 2 weeks, on the 15th of November 2019, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced plans to list Asase Royalties Limited on London Stock Exchange in January 2020 to raise $750 million. On the 23rd of January 2020, governments disclosed it had temporarily suspended initial public offering on the London Stock Exchange to allow for it to amend rules that will govern the operations of Asase Royalties Limited. So on the 15th of July 2020, more recently, government laid the bill in Parliament to allow to amend the Minerals Income Investment Fund MIIF law so that any SPV established would have unfettered independence and not be required to operate in accordance with the Public Financial Management Act and the State Interest Governance Authority Act. On the 22nd of July, the Attorney General wrote to the Finance Minister expressing concern the EJAPA, formerly Asase Minerals Royalty Investment Agreement, is skewed against the interest of Ghana, unconscionable, and will allow for a breach of Ghana's Banking Act. On the 3rd of August, Parliament approved the amendment to the Minerals Income Investments Fund MIIF Act. On the 10th of August, just a few weeks ago, the name of Asase Royalties Limited was changed to EJAPA Royalties Limited. So 2 days later, on the 12th of August, the Attorney General wrote to the Finance Minister after a series of meetings and letter exchanges, okaying the agreement subject to 7 outstanding agreements. On the 13th of August 2020, government laid EJAPA Minerals Royalties Limited agreement and 4 related documents in Parliament for approval. The Speaker referred the documents to the Finance Committee. On the 14th, after less than a day, the minority MPs led by Kezelato Forson addressed a media briefing in Parliament to demand the withdrawal of the agreements to claim it will give private individuals 49% ownership of the country's mineral royalties, which will be against the interest of the state. As you can imagine, a lot has happened in the past 2 weeks. On the 14th of August 2020, the Finance Committee of Parliament submitted reports to the floor recommending approval of EJAPA agreement. On that same day, Parliament approved the agreement after a walkout staged by the minority MPs. On the 25th of August 2020, 15 civil society organizations addressed a media briefing demanding the suspension of the EJAPA agreement. Just for a bit of information, that number 15 addressed that news conference, but the number rose to 21 in subsequent days. The 28th of August 2020, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta addressed a media briefing at which he defended the EJAPA agreement and announced listing on the London and Ghana stock exchanges will happen in December 2020. On the 2nd of September 2020, the Finance Minister met with CSOs over the EJAPA agreement as part of further consultations. On the 5th of September 2020, the Finance Minister dismissed rumors that the deal has been suspended and said details of the deal will be published. Let's go to that final date, the 5th of September. That was just 2 days ago on Newsfile, where Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has rejected claims of undervaluation of Ghana's gold royalties in the EJAPA Minerals Royalties Agreement. Civil society organizations, including Imani Ghana, had claimed that the deal has been undervalued by as much as 60%. But speaking on Newsfile, the finance minister said the CSOs have misconstrued the stated capital in the deal as the market value. According to him, the real value of the commodity will be established after it is put on the stock market.
You know, also you price at the point of which you've done the roadshow and you're about
they're giving
to
up to, as they say, 3 years. And you're talking about a signing for, as it were, in perpetuity. And they say they were giving only 3 years of cash flow. And that's not sufficient enough to assess them to make, you know, take a good oversight responsibility for the people.
Samson, what do you have? And you know, there's fact and there's truth, okay? And I think we need to be clear about that. So in terms of historicals as to what the value of our royalties are and projections, I guess in a sense 3 years will give you the most insight into everything else. It's a projection. So once you have the 3 years, you have a clear view of what is going. But the issue going forward with these transactions of valuation is that in the end, you are going to do this as a multiple of the net asset value compared to what else is on the market. And that's what happens. In the same way in which I go to Parliament, I ask for their forbearance and they give me approval to go and get $3 billion. Now, as to whether it's going to be 41 years, it's going to be 6.875%, etc. I can't even begin to do that, and that's $3 billion. Okay, so we are looking at an issue of 500 million, for example, if we wanted to just do nominal. So the fact of the matter is that yes, there was a 3-year cash flow in which we understood. Everything else is projection. Dividend policy you can't declare, except that when you look at comparables, you know that they typically do 30%. So it's not a question of mischief or trying to keep information away from Parliament. So you cure that and you move. So what are we trying to do for the nation, and we move on that.
Now, he also described as false claims that the Attorney General was not part of the process. You may have seen a report in which the Attorney General describes the Ejapa deal as not in the interest of the state among a raft of concerns. But Ken Oforiatta says the advice of the AG, even at the cabinet level, was considered.
And that it makes me very nervous when we talk about that, because really, of all of these, so even with bills and acts that we go to Parliament with, we have a retreat, we go through things, they say no, we change. So that dialogue to be interpreted as the AG not being part of it, you know, it's palpably wrong. You know, the AG is supposed to interrogate anything you bring, and she may have a different view, you discuss it, and then she understands how far she wants you to go, and with the Republic as a preeminent reason why she does things. So that dialogue cannot be misconstrued as AG not participating.
In respect of that, the Imani asked a question. Yeah. How was Cabinet able to approve a deal in March 2020 when as late as May 28th, 2020, the Attorney General was complaining of not having seen the 4 main agreements involved in the transaction, besides the relationship agreement? What exactly was presented to Cabinet to review and approve? That's a legitimate question.
Oh, it can be, you know.
Now, some members of the public have been sharing their expectations ahead of the launch.
I'm here at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, trying to gauge the mood of the citizens ahead of the official launch of the manifesto. What are the expectations really, and will these expectations be met by the NDC's manifesto? So I'm going to try to speak to a few people. Thank you so much for speaking to me. What really are your expectations of the NDC's manifesto?
NDC has nothing to give us. NDC has nothing. But since there are 8 years that has passed by, I have not even seen what NDC have done that Ghanaians are happy about it. So as for me, I don't have any good expectation that NDC is bringing out to Ghanaians. Ghanaians will be happy about their manifesto.
But they say they're going to.
Aside from that, why Okada? They have to request for something better in life more than everybody can buy Okada and hire someone to work with Okada. How Okada? He has to bring new things that people will enjoy and like it. More than this Okada, they are making noise in all over the place. People are Okada. What's Okada?
Okay, if they will realize their mistakes and then correct their mistakes, I think it will be better than accusing the current, sitting president. And for that one, I disagree with them. You know, if you want to move forward, you correct your mistakes. So use your past to correct your current mistake. Present life. So if I've been, I've done a lot of mistakes previously for the past. I have to sit down, work it out, and come when I want to come to power. Then I know that I've corrected my mistakes and coming forward. Then I know that these are the things I have to put in place.
I'm expecting them to just come back to tell us the truth, as in what they did not or they were not able to do before. They are supposed to come and tell us, be able to also convince us that if we trust them or we believe in them, we'll be able to, or they'll be able to get or do whatever we want to do. They promised, especially we the youth, jobs. So we are expecting that when they come, they'll be able to give us the jobs that we need.
Yes. We will compare and contrast, because as of now, the two parties are, telling stories. So what we believe is we are waiting for the NDC manifesto. There we compare and contrast. That's why I use the word in my opinion. Right. In my opinion.
And they should give more employment to unemployed graduates, and yeah, exactly, and to manage the economy for the betterment of Ghana. But they shouldn't over stress the promise that they will do this thing just to gain power. They should do the right thing by telling us what they will be able to do. Ghanaians, they want comfort. But if you promise them something you can't do, and you came and the hardship is still going on and they are not getting work to do, it's not nice.
It's not nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. All the best today.
Now, away from that, the Minister for Defense, Dominic Nitiwul, has questioned former President John Dramani Mahama's right to demand votes from the people of Salaga at a time a major road contract that would have eased the burden of travelers on the Tamale-Salaga stretch has been deliberately delayed by his brother. He said several pregnant women have died while they were being transported to the hospital due to the bad nature of the road. He was addressing the chiefs and people of Pembi in the Savannah region.
President, they gave you contract, you put it into, took the money and chopped it. Now they've terminated the contract that you are on the road. What are you doing? So that when the new contractor moves, then you take them to court because you don't want the road to be done. Show them that you care about the government. Let NDC know that the people of Saga care about themselves. And that when you take them as if they don't know what they are doing, they will teach you when they go to the ballot box. When President Mahama comes on this road and he drives to Salaga here, does he see the road or he doesn't see it? When he moves from here to Magambo, does he see the road or he does not see it? What does he want to ask his brother? Who is the contractor? And then you come and say the people should vote for you. Why? Why should they vote for you? Then you go and follow mobilization and you don't do the road. Do you know the number of people who are supposed to go to Tamale and maybe could not make it because the road is bad? Look at the number of pregnant women who have been referred to Tamale and couldn't make it because the road is bad. My brothers and sisters, I want you to show John Mahama and the NDC that when you deny me food in your house, when you come to my house, I'll let you also sleep hunger for just one day and see how hard that is. So at this juncture, I will call on...
Now, the Savannah Regional Minister, Salifo Adam Brima, lamented about an investor who had expressed interest in developing the Makango port, but had to turn the offer down because of the bad nature of the road.
In the name of the 90-year-old woman who was murdered. As a vice president, the second one happened around Damango Road, and only today, only yesterday, another one happened around Bole. So embarrassing, I must say. We have decided we have to tackle it head on. Savannah Regional Coordinating Council has set up a foundation. The president had made a pledge to donate into that foundation. I'll be knocking on your office for a vehicle for the foundation, because the communities happen to be without electricity, not to talk of television, for radio and television discussions. These are human rights abuses. Attack and killing of is drawing our development efforts back. We will need a vehicle for the members of the foundation to go around.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Some major tourism and hospitality players in the Volta region say the impact of COVID-19 pandemic has been devastating. Joy Businesses Federal has been visiting the Tafe Atome Monkey Sanctuary, Lee Waterfalls, Agotime Kente Weaving Center, and the Volta Serene Hotel, where operators hope nothing of this nature happens again. They hope to bounce back as restrictions are eased.
COVID-19, I pray no disease comes to hit the world like this anymore. In fact, you know, the community lives on tourism here. Every project in this community, it is the tourism project that backs it to happen. So when COVID-19 came, the visitors couldn't come again. Nobody traveled again. And so the village became economically bankrupt. And then there wasn't anything going. But meanwhile, we needed to live. We needed projects to happen. But where is the money? So to be frank, COVID-19 had very big negative effects on the community here.
It has reduced the visitation to nearly 1%. It has come down.
And in that sense, revenue is affected drastically.
At a big loss to us. So we are praying very hard that to just go off and then a lot of people will come, start coming.
The olden days, the business was going on well, and we were very much enjoying it. But due to this COVID-19 pandemic, everything has stopped. And no more funerals, no more festivals and celebration weddings. So people buy to use. So since there is no celebration and all those things, they are no more interested in buying it again. So that's not we are finding the business difficult.
Generally, the hospitality industry would have been hit. We seized the opportunity to, based on the ban by the president, we seized the opportunity to train. We seized the opportunity to do trainings, do certain renovations and all that. So generally, everybody would have been, but for us, business is also picking up just as how it is happening now. Yeah, so everything is picking up gradually, and we are very hopeful that it's going to pick up even at a faster pace.
Now, the MasterCard Foundation is urging government to create accessible opportunities in deprived regions to help startup businesses grow. Speaking at the launch of the Ghana Startup Ecosystem Platform, a program partner and digital economist at the MasterCard Foundation, Chirag Shamdansani, told Joy Business local businesses must be supported to thrive in their communities.
But equitable access to opportunities. So young people should be given the support that they require to grow and thrive where they are, not necessarily having to come to Accra or Kumasi or do things that they don't enjoy doing previously in their own hometown. So these hubs are there, these organizations are there that are supporting young people. So we need, very importantly, to support local systems to generate young people opportunities that they can use that to thrive and grow. So I think it's very, very critical. And innovation cannot come from a central place. We talked about decentralization a lot today. Innovation needs to come from the people closest to those problems. So I think it's very, very important that we support local ecosystems. I think it's a bit tricky, right? So sometimes policies are in place. I think if you look at something, I think the president spoke to a couple years ago in terms of how we want Ghana to be at the center of STEM, right? Or we're talking about digitization. So the frameworks are in place. It's about implementation, right? So even we're talking about, for instance, we had a lot of programs supporting innovations that were supposed to help the country deal with COVID-19. And the government would speak about Obuasi Secondary School creating buckets, touchless buckets. But then what happened? It's not like there was a big order that was able to allow them to scale and commercialize. So we need systems that allow these innovations to go all the way to the level where they can access markets, grow, and create jobs. So I think that's critical. Even when you're talking about digitization, so like the national identification or GPS digital addressing. I think the policy level, they're there, but how are young people being able to use that as an identity to, let's say, get access to credit? So the implementation bit is where we need a bit more happening.
All right, let's go quickly to Charles Nixon in the Joy Business newsroom. Hopefully, we will be able to speak to him on what's coming up on the marketplace. Charles.
Hello, Daryl. Well, in today's show, we'll be looking at trending issues. And the major issue that we'll be looking at is the Registrar General setting the last week of September to commence payment of locked up funds to customers of defunct fund managers. And the Registrar General will be having a creditors meeting this afternoon. We'll be speaking to the Registrar General, Jemima Owari, to throw more light on that. We'll also be looking at the issue at Coca-Cola where some workers are being laid off. Basically, the company is saying that its operating expense has shot up whilst revenue is not really up to the level they want.
Thanks, Charles. And so that'll be in 15 minutes. Stay tuned. Sports is up next.